Hey everybody, welcome to the Shead Show. I'm your host Ryan Shead. This is my co-host Ian. How you
How you
doing,
doing?
brother?
Man, I'm good, man.
A
Kicking
lot.
hornet's nest. Happy Friday, happy
Same to
Shabbat.
you. Same to you, brother. It's gonna be a lot to talk about today.
I'm getting ready for Kwanzaa. I'm getting ready for Christmas. We doing it all. We just did Hanukkah
I know. I was trying to
worldwide,
explain.
man.
I was trying to explain to my kids
Do
the
you
other day.
celebrate Kwanzaa?
No, no,
Have you ever with your kids?
I don't think so. No.
Tell your wife I'm taking away your black card.
I've been waiting for this day to come. I
You getting
I
ousted, baby.
I
You getting
knew
ousted.
I knew I was gonna get my invitation to the barbecue revoked one of these days. It was bound to happen. It was bound to happen.
Coming, baby.
I'm a little disappointed that it was you to take it, but
Hey, man,
we'll
you
talk
gotta
about
watch out for Team Light Skin. You
we'll
gotta
talk
watch out
about
for Team
that. Yeah,
Light
we'll
Skin.
talk about that in the green room later.
You already, you already know. It's always them light skinned brothers that always start.
Oh my God! So, um, man. So we're gonna try a couple of new things today. For those that don't know, I'm kind of trying to get everything going over here. I do the comments and everything. So we're gonna try to do a few different things. We're going live to Instagram, hopefully for the first time.
What up, IG?
Yeah. So if you're joining us on Instagram, welcome. If the video looks wrong or off, I'm sorry. That's not me. But yeah, no. Let's get into it, man. So I want to start with the House opening the impeachment inquiry into Joe Biden. Give me your thoughts.
You're talking about some sourpuss ass people who are literally just trying to stir the pot to make Donald Trump not look so bad.
Yes.
Like, let's see if we can. And the thing that's interesting is that you're talking about Joe Biden, who wasn't even, if he was vice president, but wasn't really, because 2017, not in office.
Yeah, he was out of office at that point.
Yep. He was out of office. So you're talking about a person who has his own business doing whatever he's doing, and they want to say he's using his political powers. Here's what I find so interesting about that. And maybe you could say, well, he was out of office and maybe he had documents on him and he was using documents. Maybe you could say something.
Mm-hmm.
There is something there. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
I know we're going to touch on it in a little bit, but it's not like documents went missing under Biden having documents.
Yeah, so, I don't think the CIA and the FBI were looking for binders full of intel.
I don't even think Sesame Street, brother. You got all the alphabet. You got everybody out there. Documents are missing now, and we knew this was going to happen.
And so, just before you move on, hang on to that. It's also important to note that they did find some documents in a few places, like Biden's garage and somewhere else.
His garage.
But it was like a few pieces of, like, it was a few documents, like we're talking 2, 4, and they were like, one set of documents were found tucked in a box with his son's funeral stuff. With Bo's funeral stuff. So it was just kind of like, clearly there was a lot of stuff going on for him personally, not excusing or whatever, but they turned it in right away. As soon as they found it, they sent people to preemptively search for this stuff because of what was happening with Trump. They were like,
and he was very open about it, which
that matters.
Actually litigating where, he hasn't actually faced anything yet. So we'll see what comes with it.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think it's done yet.
There's a couple of things that are very interesting that are down the line. And by that I mean this. The Supreme Court is going to look at if a president, not just one president, if a president has unlimited power and cannot be a face justice. That's crazy. If that is the case, then, well, who's to say that Dark Brandon isn't going to go ham on everybody on his last year in office, being this year. Not saying it's his last year, but just saying in general.
Yeah, no, I know.
Last year of his first term. Let me just say that clearly for everybody. Last year of his first term, because people want to be literal about shit.
Yeah.
So there's that context, but I think Mike Jones, Johnson, little dick motherfucker. He's trying to. I don't see this working. I think this is going to backfire on everybody. Everybody who's involved with it, Comer, they look like fumbling idiots trying to talk about, even them going after Biden, being Hunter. They just look like fumbling idiots because they don't have anything that's like, okay, here's why we're doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
Like when it was Russia, it was the quid pro quo for Ukraine,
Yep.
and then it was January 6th. So you're like, here are the reasons why, and now we're going after you, and we're going to prove it from what we have.
Yeah.
I still don't know what they're trying to do with Joey.
You know, I think it's like you said, they're just trying to throw as much stuff against the wall to see what sticks. Like that's literally their game plan.
But also to shackle it to him so Trump doesn't look so bad with his 91
arrests in 4 different states, 91 plus indictments. Yeah, it's not looking good.
Yeah, but hey, there's 2 options and they both have been impeached. It's a play
Biden's
thing
not
now.
Biden's not impeached. Biden's not impeached
but this is keep in mind that the word impeach
the House will probably
they're trying to tie it to
and honestly the House they'll have the votes to do it.
Yeah, and that's my point. They're trying to tie it to him because that would be the same situation for what Trump is. He was impeached twice and not convicted by the Senate. So
they're trying to even the playing field a little bit.
Exactly. This is their stunt. This is all it is.
That makes complete sense to me.
Yeah, it spells out just the bullshit. It's there.
What I liked was, let's move on to the next topic. So the Bidens, they've got an impeachment inquiry in the House, which is likely, if they go forward with it, they'll have the votes probably to impeach him. But of course, we know it'll go to the Senate and die.
Right.
But let's go ahead and kind of pivot into Hunter Biden's subpoena that he decided not to show up for.
Jim Jordan has a lot to say for being that slimy.
Andy Biggs has been posting about it. It's like, bro, you guys have 0 legs to stand on.
But that's their platform. Do what we say, not what we do.
And that's the part that just irritates me. It's the hypocrisy. It's what is expected of liberals and Democrats versus what Republicans and conservatives get away with. What they cover for each other.
It's literally their policy. That
it is.
When they are in power, they don't do anything. But when they're not, they are the most fiscal. They are, the high ground. They are the one that's fighting for free speech, all this other stuff. But all I've seen is banning. I've seen them, go against the LGBTQ.
Removing women's rights.
Facing that snatch, for Moms for Liberty. I know you've been following that story. That has me dying laughing.
I know.
Coming from Sarah. Do you not know about this?
What, the Moms for Liberty threesome thing?
Yes, but also what's transpired about, her husband, the allegations of rape now. All this
Lord. No, I haven't heard all that.
Oh, it's getting worse because she didn't show up for the threesome. Homegirl thought it was canceled. My man still showed up. Was like, you about to give me that? And she's now saying, no, this is rape. Like, I did not sign up for this. I signed up for you 3. You just showed up and did what you wanted. No. So it's and he won't resign, and nor will she. So it's getting a lot deeper. So the point is the hypocrisy.
Man, this is like some Scientology shit.
Literally, the Republicans need to go to Amari, like straight up, and figure this out.
I know, that's like Scientology. Like,
yeah,
man, that's wow.
So it's getting deep in Florida. Let me tell you.
Yeah, knee deep.
Yeah.
But what I found interesting about the Hunter Biden thing was he showed up and testified that day. It just wasn't in the form that they wanted. He showed up outside and he talked to the reporters, and I thought he was very cool, calm, collected, said what needed to be said what most of us already knew.
Yeah.
He's not standing up there denying shit. He's standing up there like, yeah, I'm an addict. Yeah, I'm in recovery. And yeah, this part is all true. Yeah, we all know that.
Once again, my father had nothing to do with this, but be my father.
Yep, but be my loving father and support me.
Yeah.
And it's like, guys, you guys are going after this guy for 5 years now. Like, it's enough. Let it go. You don't have anything of I'm
not even gonna say let it go. If you don't have anything, it's over. It's
that's a better way to put it.
My man Douglas, what was his name? He was He was going after. He spent millions of dollars trying to indict. He came up with nothing.
Yeah.
He was the one trying to indict the indicters for Russiagate, for the dossier. He had nothing, and I go, it was a waste of so many resources.
Yeah.
This is what we're looking at. That's coming in with Hunter. Either put up or shut up. This is where you're at now. You know.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's the reality of the situation.
Yep. So speaking of putting up or shutting up, turns out that the Trump removing documents may be a lot worse than we thought.
Bro, speak for yourself. We knew that's what the fuck. At his little fucking busted ass hotel? Really? Really? That cheap piece of shit in Florida? Seriously? How tacky this motherfucker's taste is? Anybody, you had Chinese spies caught on the premise.
Yeah.
That was caught. So who was not caught that was there?
I'm telling you. But I mean, it's really interesting. So a binder full of Russian intelligence went missing during Trump's final days in office. His allies are looking for it too. Apparently, they haven't found it yet.
They have not found it.
This is getting crazy. Like this is.
But isn't it interesting when you look at the moves Russia's been making?
Oh yeah.
Just in general.
Yeah.
The moves, and then by Trump saying, well, if I was president, this wouldn't have happened. I wonder why it's happened. You're the one leaking the fucking.
Yeah, you're the one giving them the freaking information.
Do you know what I mean? It's like the writing is on the wall.
Well,
and it's just.
People called that a while ago. Like Putin's pulling the strings. He's going to lay off, not make Trump look horrible, and then the minute he just goes crazy. So it's just.
And he's also trying to wait out. Oh yeah. For this right here.
So
pause and read this if you guys need to.
Yeah, because it's like a binder full of intelligence about Russia's interference in the 2016 election vanished during Trump's final days in office, reported on Friday, citing more than a dozen anonymous sources. A representative for Trump didn't immediately respond. The report was later confirmed by the New York Times, who cited two people familiar with the matter. I think I got something better. Hang on here. Oh, sorry, I moved it. So this is what I meant by I'm trying things a little different. So there was a 10-inch thick binder containing nearly 3,000 pages of highly classified material related to the investigation of the Russia election interference, as well as links between Moscow and Donald Trump, went missing in the final days. The disappearance raised alarms in the American intelligence community because some of the most closely guarded national security secrets from the U.S. and its allies could be exposed. National security officials...
all the people that are like spies and people who are affiliated who've been giving out information. That is correct.
Yep. National security officials were vexed by the disappearance of the Crossfire Hurricane binder, which was the name given to the investigation by the FBI. So I just want to say, Mueller report. Like he called this shit.
It's deeper than
it's so much up that, but
Yeah.
people didn't even want to believe that. They thought the Mueller report was off. It's like, oh no.
And they're like,
it's so much worse.
It did not exonerate anybody. It
literally
says that there is definitely some smoke here, and we just don't know if we can try him
because he's president, which is essentially the same premise that is being challenged in the Supreme Court right now. That's essentially what the Mueller report said.
Jack Smith gives zero fucks, and he's taking it right to the Supreme Court. Like, let's go.
Yep.
Let's go. Put it on the table. Let's see.
One way or another, it's going to be done. We're going to figure this out.
And it's interesting because if you saw what his lawyers, Trump's lawyers, tried to put on the table as their argument, they were just like, Jack Smith is ruining our Christmas. Like that's
the Dr. Seuss and the Grinch.
Why do you think I got him right here?
Dude. Like if you're a lawyer and your legal position is he's the Grinch, he's ruining our Christmas.
I made sure I got Jack Smith on my shoulder. Boy, look at pow.
Cut it out. Cut it out. It's done.
It's so good.
Done. Yeah, if that's your legal argument, you're in some trouble.
It's so wild to think about that this is what their argument is, but it's a clown show. You already know what to expect from this, I mean,
like you and I do.
Giuliani, clown show.
Well, let's go ahead and go into that. Man, we're blowing through my timeline or my outline today. This is going to be the 130-minute show we do.
You're welcome, people. Enjoy.
Yeah, really. And we were about on time, I think, too. So that's we're 2 for 2 today. But no, going into Rudy Giuliani is joining the Alex Jones broke ass club after being ordered to pay $148 million to Shay Moss and Ruby Freeman. And the best part about this is when the dude got out, he goes outside the court. Do you think that this dumbass stopped talking? No, of course not.
And I know that my country had a president imposed on it by fraud.
Those are conspiracy theories, sir.
These are not conspiracy theories. These are proven facts.
Where's your evidence?
I'm not allowed to present it. You see what she just did? You see what she just did? She didn't allow me to present a stitch of evidence.
Wow, man.
Like, he's still going.
Oh. At least he got rid of the hair dye. All right, because when you seen him sweat,
it just starts coming down.
The river runs, man. River runs.
I learned my lesson.
That's really interesting. That is really
like he's still going.
He's tripling down in his age. Like when we're talking about Sidney Powell has flipped. She's telling everybody everything.
Yep.
He really wants to die on this hill.
Whatever they have on him is so bad he doesn't have a choice. That's the only thing that makes sense.
That's what it is.
Absolutely. There's no other excuse. There's no other explanation. Like the only people that are still standing by this dude, like seriously standing by him, somebody somewhere has so much dirt on them that is so detrimental that they will rather, like you said, die on this hill than let whatever it is they have on them out.
Oh man.
Rudy. That's my personal opinion, because how do you go from fucking, prosecuting the mob, being one of the first to use the RICO case the way that you did,
flawlessly,
and then and then coming to being the mayor of New York during the worst terrorist attack, he was
dubbed America's mayor. He was dubbed.
Bro, how do you go from all of that to what we see standing before us today?
But I'll tell you this: go back and listen to Biggie Smalls coming up, and listen to how he talks about Rudy growing up under Rudy's rule. It's a great history lesson to hear from the streets, like to really hear that perspective.
And that's a good point. Like you said, I think Rudy Giuliani, really, I didn't know who he was until 9/11.
Most of America.
I think it's fair to say that most of America probably didn't know who he was before 9/11.
Oh, yeah.
And then that's my next question. Like, how do you not pivot and turn, what he had into a Senate run, a presidency run? Like,
I'm sure there's attempts, but he's Rudy. Like,
I don't know. Well, maybe he did, and I don't know.
You know what I mean? There was attempts, but he wasn't that kind of candidate. It's just like Ron DeSantis. How are you Florida's governor, and you're making all these moves, but now you're trying to make that pivot, and it's like it's not working for you.
No.
What Ron DeSantis did in Florida only worked in Florida.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Yeah.
Because you have people like Moms for Liberty. Shit is so good, man. It's just so good.
But that's a really good point. Is Ron DeSantis, and I think even the Republican Party bought their own bullshit when it came to Ron DeSantis, and when it came to leaving his safe space, then it really was like, oh, okay. Like, you see these debates, he's getting his lunch taken from him.
Gavin handed his. He dog walked him. He definitely took his lunch, but he dog walked him.
Whoever said
on his own platform.
Yeah, whoever said, "Hey, Ron, that's a good idea. Why don't you go debate him?" Whoever told him that should have been fucking fired.
It's interesting. It's interesting to me because when you look at the playing field, where you're like, okay, I'm trying to run for president, and then you got this other governor, and they're like, well, do you want to debate this other governor? He's like, yeah, I do. It's like you're talking about going to another fight that has nothing to do with anything but what you are trying to do over here. Absolutely ridiculous that he would put himself in that situation. I mean, I'm sorry. And then to get dog walked on a conservative network. Yeah. Not looking good.
And also, while the moderator was clearly, biased. Biased and partisan to DeSantis, he still couldn't win.
No.
So, it's just, I don't know. His campaign should have shut down that next week. They should have taken that.
Which is interesting because you would never see Ron DeSantis go on like Rachel Maddow. Like, you just won't see it.
No, he doesn't have the balls.
You won't see it. And if it was vice versa, if it was a Gavin Newsom, Rachel Maddow, and Ron, it wouldn't go well. And the thing that was really quite interesting is that Newsom was like, "Yeah, let's keep this bitch going. I'll keep debating you."
Yeah.
And Newsom's wife
keep
was
churning
like,
content, baby.
Hey, it's always got to give a lot of praise to our wives. They step in, they're like, "You're done.
Yeah, you're good. You've
TKO,
done.
you did your thing.
Yep, you're done.
We're done."
Yep.
If they want another rematch, that's a whole nother conversation. But we're shutting this down now. And I'm like, good for her for knowing when to pull the plug, because it's like, there's no point in beating a dead horse. It's over.
Yeah. Hey, what's going on, man? It's really interesting. Uh-oh, what did I do? See? Man, I'm all sorts today. Yeah, it's really interesting to see what has happened to him. And I have to say, Alex Jones is getting his own show on Twitter, so I'm sure Rudy Giuliani will have.
Is that what it is?
Oh yeah. Musk gave him his own deal, just like he did with Tucker Carlson. So by the way, just while we're talking about this, sorry, brother, I just got to say, I have not seen one big left wing creator, internet, whatever political pundit has been given a contract on Twitter, an exclusive deal, exclusive show. The only two people that have exclusive contracts on Twitter /X is fucking Alex Jones and Tucker Carlson. That's it. So if Elon and all you freaking Elon stands, you want to talk about free speech and all that bullshit, save it. Because it's not free speech. You're paying for the speech that you want out there. And it's the speech of freaking conspiracy theorists and bullshit liars. It's been proven in court over and over and over again. It literally was proven in court that Tucker Carlson is an entertainer. And they literally argued that no rational person would think that what Tucker Carlson says would be fact. It's entertainment. And you guys buy into it. And Elon's propping him up on his freaking platform and saying, oh, this is free speech. No, you're lifting up a bunch of fucking liars, conspiracy theorists, and sexual predators. That's what fucking Twitter has become. So when you want to know why all the investors and advertisers are fleeing like it's the fucking plague, that's why. Sorry, I'm good. I'm good now.
I'm glad it's not me this week, baby. I'm glad it's not me. I had last week. I'm glad you got this week, man.
Hey, man, I got to step in, when the chips are down.
Hey, man, no, you did tell your truth, man. It's reality.
Am I wrong though?
You're not wrong. I think everything you're saying is spot on, because it's quite interesting to see that Elon. Okay, here's where I wanted to ask you the question. What's the long game for whatever X is? Is it just now becoming a tax write-off because the banks need Elon at more than he needs them? And think about
I think that's a fair
with
assumption.
The funding that's there, he's pushing that where it's like, is he going to drive it into the ground to then claim bankruptcy on this? Do you know what I mean?
My conspiracy theory, my left-wing conspiracy mind is that he bought it with the intention of fucking destroying it going into the 2024 election. Look at who he's propping up.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like if it was truly, that's my whole argument. If it was truly about.
But as a business deal, what is the long-term benefit?
I mean, if you look at somebody,
that's the mind I want to tap into.
It's a control thing. It's controlling information. And just like a typical conservative, what does he do? He points at Mark Zuckerberg and says, Mark Zuckerberg is the enemy. I may not have much love for Mark Zuckerberg, but I'll tell you what, between the two of them, I'm much more concerned about Elon Musk than I am Mark Zuckerberg.
Oh, I'm not. You don't hear from Mark. You don't hear from him.
Right.
That makes me nervous.
Well, you're going to be a little more nervous when you find out he's building like $100 million bunker in California.
You know what I'm saying? It makes me a little nervous. Like Mark Zuckerberg makes me nervous because
I mean, he still makes me nervous, but he's not as fucking unhinged as Musk.
And that makes me even more because I mean, it's like, am I afraid of Kanye West? Absolutely not. Am I afraid of?
Did you watch that rant?
Which one?
The one they just released today.
No, I don't watch anything Kanye West.
It's 10 minutes. Don't.
That's 10 minutes of your life you'll never get back.
I only got it. I only got a minute and a half in, so I'm good.
Oh man, I'm done right now. Like, and that's the thing where like anybody who's crazy, and maybe that's the New York in me. You're on the subway and you're hearing some crazy ass rant. You're just like, and I'm not even
tuning out. Yeah, I'm tuning out.
It means nothing to me. But at the same time, when you're like, okay, but who's that crazy person over there who's just doing some shit? That's the part where I'm like, okay, Zuckerberg's trying to get your kids. Like he's trying to get everybody addicted to and divide and collect as much data as possible. Yeah. But my liberal self is like, okay, well, your data should be yours for you to sell. So you should be making a universal income. Yep. So there's certain things that are there where I'm just like, okay, this is something where, especially as we're getting into the age of AI and people are going to be losing their jobs, which is coming a lot faster than people thought. And just got rid of a lot of people. Spotify's been getting rid of a lot of people. Hasbro just got rid of a lot of people. It's like job loss is coming.
And it's like, I don't want to trash people for it, but when people start talking about, when they start criticizing people that are building platforms, building podcasts, building social media, selling merch, doing whatever they're doing, these people are doing it for a reason. Some of it's out of necessity. Yeah. Because they have to find new income generations. And then what's happening is when the people that get, fluent and good at it, they start realizing how much money they can make. And it's like, right. Oh, I'm going to put all my time into this.
And that's why we're hawking off these pills.
Coming soon from the Shead Show.
Please Photoshop pills in here.
I mean, I do have shirts, so I do have shit to push, but
buy his merch.
But no, seriously, it's don't hate on people that are trying to find their niche, trying to find a new way to put food on the table. And honestly, like my wife and I were talking about it this morning. She was talking about go have fun with Ian, and I was like, it's still a little work. She's like, yeah, but you actually enjoy doing it. And and it just got me thinking about the jobs I've had before. I loved working on aircrafts, but I hated all the bullshit. I always hated it. So, and it used to, I'm just one of those people, like emotional. So it always hit me different. And so just doing my own thing and
time is very valuable, and how you want to spend it and what you're doing with it.
That's it, dude. Like I don't want to spend my time like this. Like doing what I do now, I get to be with my kids every day. I get to put my kids to bed every night. When I was doing shift work, like you'd go months without seeing your family. Yeah. Like, they'd be going out for the day and you're coming home to go to sleep. And that's rough. That's rough.
You don't have energy to even just be
and it's tough on the kids because it's like daddy's always tired, daddy's always working. And that's another thing. Families are starting to figure out that they can come up with new ways to generate income and spend a lot more time with their kids and their family. Absolutely. Or even better, people that are, in case you don't have kids, let me explain to you how much it costs for daycare, especially if you have two like we did. Half of your income goes to daycare. 100%. So it's almost like doesn't.
Just put this in context. From 0 to 18, no college. You're talking about $250,000 just for the bare minimum basics.
Oh yeah.
0, 18.
Yep.
$250K per child.
I would think that we're probably getting close to that already.
and those numbers are already like aged. You know what I mean? That's already changed. Now,
absolutely.
And that's a reality. And that's, again, not college. So, but there's an interesting study going on right now too, where a lot of people are like, I don't need college. You don't need it.
Look, I have my degree. I only got it because,
our generation's different. We're talking about the generation behind us.
But even in our generation, dude, like, you want to know what's always gotten me in the door? My military experience. It has never been my college degree. Never. Yeah. It has been, you have, 15 years of experience guiding, go look at my freaking LinkedIn. You can see what everything I've done. And it's just like, I don't know, the college degree never got me in. The on-the-job training, the experience, that's the stuff that got me in it. And if I ever get to the point where I'm hiring for my business, I'm going to be looking for those people. I want the people that have done it, not the people that have sat and read a book and think that they know it and have never actually applied the information. I want the people that went out and figured it out, probably failed a few times, but that's why they are so good at it now, because they went through and learned it. And those are the people I want.
You're telling me you don't want the people who are going to college right now, who are gluing themselves together to be Hamas's cheerleaders?
Oh, you went deep on that one. That was. Whew.
I'm just saying.
That's a transition there, bro.
When you glue yourself to somebody, all right? That's an experience.
Yeah.
On my resume.
But I mean, I know we're kind of joking about it. That's not. I know that's very serious. What's going on, and
that's a different conversation. I'm just talking about dumb Americans who go to these schools who think that that's actually creating change or doing anything.
I mean, of course,
because that's how simple
your communications degree is not changing the world, and it's probably not going to get you the job you think it is.
My degree was in interpret dance, and I can tell you right now that it's doing wonders for me here in New York.
This motherfucker said interpretive dance. First off, if any out of the two of us, if anybody's going to make that joke, it's me. First off.
Breakdancing, baby. Taking it back to the cardboard, back in the streets, son.
Oh, he went there. Oh, man. But no, I mean, now that you kind of brought that up, let's go ahead and transition into the next thing. So the U.S. blocked the UN Security Council.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
As I've touched on, there's something more nefarious. There's something deeper that's going on that I don't think we are privy to that intel. And the thing that with the UN, I actually have a bone to pick with the UN right now, because they have never condemned October 7th. They've never condemned or even touched on the amount of rape that has been addressed and talked about. You're looking at a number of factors that have been there. The UNR, where some of their members were actually a part of holding hostages in Palestine or in Gaza. A lot of things that I'm like, you're looking real suspect. Hezbollah in Lebanon is shooting missiles at Israel, and they're positioned right by the UN there in Lebanon. Yep. Between the UN and also a school. So you're like, okay, well, this is the part that you have to question. Like, when you're talking about ceasefire and these civilians, it's like, but you've really embedded yourself into this society that you're shielding yourself from.
Yeah.
So what are we talking here? And again, I'm not for any loss of innocent life, but if people are saying, get the fuck out of this area, we are bombing this area, you're giving the heads up. So it's like even Hamas could be running with that, and hiding and ducking and dodging, because they don't wear uniforms. It's just street clothes. That's the whole point of this type of warfare. The only people coming in is that green that you see coming from Israel. That's it. They're the ones in uniform. It's not people in street clothes against people in street clothes. It's a damn shame that some hostages were gunned down by the IDF. They didn't realize. But this is how tricky this is about to get. And this is another factor where I really can't stress it enough. Israel and Palestine, these individuals are literally native of the same land. They look so much like it's very identical. It's not black and white. And even myself, I got into it, and I know we can unpack some of it. But it's one of those things where somebody addressed it with me. They're like, I am not only disappointed in you, they go, as a person of color, you should be on our side. And I'm like, what color are you fucking talking about? Because literally, you guys are of the same grain. You guys are thousands of years old in this area. Yeah. And neither one of us were there when the first stone was cast. And I don't understand why it's this back and forth. And the individual straight up told me, we want all of the land back. And I'm just like, you don't even sound like a person who's there to negotiate.
Yeah, there's no negotiating.
This is what's here in America. This is not just someone random. This is somebody I actually know. Used to call my wife a good Jew. And you're like, I know I've been drinking. This is 10 years ago. I know I've been drinking. But coded language is really the context is amazing, Absolutely. And then we would write it off and whatever. But now to hear it all come out and boil out, you're like, no, you really do stand by what you mean. And I told him, you're Hamas's biggest cheerleader. I see you. I see what you post. And I understand your anger is justified. You're watching your brethren being destroyed right now.
Yeah.
But you're also in the same breath telling me that the rape is a lie. It never happened. And it's just like to see you filled with such anger, you're not even looking for a peaceful solution. You're looking for all your land back. You're looking for everybody as terrorists. And you're looking at this from really the horse blinders on. And it's tragic. It's fucking tragic because for this individual to be here stateside and to start becoming more and more warped by this, just think about the people who are on the ground who are actually living through it right now. Yep. It's exactly what we talked about, where it's creating more Hamas. And it's one of those things where it's like, it's going to be a revolving door of this shit. And the ceasefire aspect, the UN failed. And I will absolutely stand by this. They failed to step in when they should have, which was on October 7th. They failed to address and protect the women and really step into to call out and really be there, be just a voice for humanity when the allegations and when everything came out about, and the proof that came out of the rape victims on October 7th. It is really tragic to then them sit here and thumb at Israel for fighting and defending itself. Again, I wish it wasn't this way. I wish it wasn't the bombing. I wish it was some type of way that was more of a peaceful solution. At what point is the cost of blood? Like what is the end game of all this? Yeah. We have shared, you and I, back and forth how many times we just want to get to the point where it's no longer a family feud, but a family reunion.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do we get to that place? I don't think the right people are in charge in either Hamas or in with the IDF, i.e. Netanyahu. There's a lot of untampered questions that need to be unraveled. Why were there loads of money in suitcases and very bad spy movies being delivered from Netanyahu's camp to the Hamas people who are running things? What is this mob hit? What are these things that were taking place since 2005 to now? How much he financially was funding them to keep the pressure and to keep the fear on his people to continue to rule. And on top of that, to listen to Netanyahu, who also, much like our Trump, is a scumbag, where he is in a situation where he was literally trying to remove the power of the Supreme Court because he's trying to hide himself from justice. Yep. So it's quite interesting to see when you have the wrong people who you have elected or who have been elected and that's not the candidate that you wanted. It shows you the importance of your voice. Hamas, by the way, hasn't had a election since 2005, and they've never wanted to govern. They've rather taken the money and the resources they've gotten to put towards their operation. And it's quite interesting to see that. Even the water situation, I did some more research on that. I don't know if we really touched on it. In 2005, they were given the deal, like, hey, Hamas, you're in charge now, like you're governing. We will supply you with water and with these resources, electricity, for 10 years so you can get your system up and running. We're going to help you out. We're in 2023 going in 2024, and that's still the situation where they're supplying because they never wanted to take it over. They never wanted to govern. They never wanted to be the people who had the mop, the wrench,
they just wanted to milk it dry.
They never wanted to control the shit.
Yep.
And so when you're sitting here and you're like, well, and this is what's so interesting about this is that people are sitting here like, well, Israel controls their electricity and their water. They're the occupiers. It's like, no, that's the motherfucker with the actual intelligence who built fresh water in the middle of a goddamn desert. I go, you would think that people would team up and start working with each other to start learning how to spread this information and resources and start building off of this. This is damn near the cradle of civilization. Algebra came out of this area. People were studying the stars back then in this region in life. The amount of history that is as ingrained in the soil there is insane to me to think about when you're talking about Cain and Abel, and you're like, okay, this biblical figure, and then you're like, oh, these two literally peoples, culture, tribes stem from this, and you're like, okay, yeah, this is a family feud. This is not black and white. This is not that simple. So for those views, I've been called a genocidal Zionist. Mind you, the individual thought I was Jewish. For the record, I am not Jewish. But, you know, black, I'm white, I'm a number of things. I'm American first and foremost. And here I am, you know, an asshole with a mic.
Two assholes with a mic. That's going to be the new title.
I think that's the new show.
I think that's the new show.
I told you figure it out.
Yep. So, you know.
I promise, Moms for Liberty, we're a family-oriented show.
Yeah, very family-oriented.
Two assholes with a mic.
Two assholes with a mic.
Just ask your founder. She's all about two assholes.
Ooh.
And a mic.
I saw that. I was like, oh, they teed that one up good. But no, so, you know, Ian and I have been doing this for a while now. So at the beginning of the year, we're going to start revamping the show on Fridays to be our show, more, not just my show. So, yeah, you guys have that to look forward to. But yeah, we're working on a name. So, hey, you know, if anybody's got anything, you know, we're open to suggestions. I would love
for names to be thrown in the comments.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Let's do that.
I do love the individuals that chime in all the time. You guys are stunning.
Yeah.
Such witty individuals.
And we appreciate the support, especially not just during the show, but, you know, even in the week when you guys are commenting on the clips and you know, just liking everything.
Keep up. We're seeing it. We're definitely seeing it.
For sure. What am I got on my face there? Okay. Before we move on, though, I wanted to touch on, so apparently we bypassed Congress and sold some munitions to Israel, right?
Yeah, Biden pulled this move right here. I mean, this is one of our closest allies. They're not gonna let them fail.
Yeah.
And the biggest issue about the ceasefire that you're seeing this opposition towards is that, let's just say there's a ceasefire. Sure. All right, Israel, you go back to your corner. Lick your wounds, go do what you need to do. During that time frame, Hamas is not held to a ceasefire. And at the last pause that they had, Hamas started sending rockets over, and which then immediately ignited the follow-up to where we are today. And when you look at that situation, when you talk about a ceasefire, all parties have to be committed to this.
Yes.
But the thing that Hamas has put out on record was that this was just the first attack. They will not stop. And this is why when you hear people say from the river to the sea, they're talking about taking all of the land and making it Palestine. Palestine, you know, and the individual I even talked to was, I asked him, I go, do you consider yourself Roman? Because they're the ones who named you. You know, that's how many versions of this land have gone through changes. And you think about the Jews that were there, they were fighting the Romans and got wiped out. They lost to the Romans twice. And it's like history is there when you start like actually looking up on this region. And so it's interesting to see how people try to twist a lot of it. But when you're kind of focused on the ideas of a ceasefire, about land for peace, all these different topics that are coming up, the hostage taking and what those trades entail. And then I kind of think about what America says, you know, where they're like, we don't negotiate with terrorists. It's like, you kind of then understand where things are at, where you're like, no, okay, they got captured and now we have to wipe all of you out. And it's like, how would America have handled this? And I really think about that. I'm not saying, you know, okay, we would attack Canada or, you know, Mexico in that context. But if this was that kind of situation where our people, which keep in mind, Ryan, a number of Americans were killed on October 7th that were there in Israel. Like a number, 30 or so, 30 plus.
I don't know the number, but I know.
And some are still being held at kidnapped Americans.
Yeah.
So it's
it's not like we don't have any skin in the game.
I mean, there were so many different groups that were there. Thai, everything, is out there. So it's quite interesting to see where this lands. And with the UN again, I just think they failed on every off ramp that they could have helped to navigate this. They failed.
I think everybody, it just seemed like it was a hot potato that nobody wanted to do anything with.
But Trump did something. He did great things.
So before we move on, fuck that guy. Before we move on,
fuck that guy. I don't think any decade in America anybody's been so loathed or constituents have talked so freely about fuck that person. Like I can't see people saying that about past presidents. I mean, well, okay, maybe Lincoln, they killed him. Yeah. Hey, they didn't. I mean, like I get it.
Yeah.
But it's like there's such a blatant like fuck him. Like it's so interesting.
And this is probably the truest statement that can be said about Trump. And again, let me preface this with not wishing this on him or anybody. No ill will at all. However, when we wake up and our phones have breaking news, Donald Trump is, there's not going to be a whole lot of crying. Like, I mean, with the MAGA people, but that'll be it. There's going to be not only will there not be
Q's coming back.
Yeah, but not only that, I think there will be people as maybe classless, I guess you could say, as it might be, that will celebrate this man no longer being on this earth. And it's really telling that so many of us have that level of hatred for this man, for what he has done to this country, what he has done to our government, the betrayal. Like the list is long. And I'm sure that there will be several people that are more than happy when I'm no longer here, but I feel very good saying that I don't think I will have the level of hate that he does when my time comes. It's just crazy.
I mean, there might be a whole generation of women who are like, thank God this motherfucker's gone because he took away their rights.
Couple generations of them.
I mean, depending on how all this plays out, but at the same time, seeing how many women are mobilizing and really flipping the script.
Not even just, I think this generation, and even my daughter's generation, they're going to be like, yeah, this is crazy. But you want to know who I really think is that I feel for right now? I feel bad for the women that were fighting in the fucking 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
Like they had to fight their ass off, get this whole thing done. It's done, and then what is it? 50 years later, 60 years later?
It was around for 50 years and they literally wiped it off the books. Yeah, that has to hurt.
That's got to hurt. Like that
has to hurt.
This new generation, they understand, and then they're standing up, and it gives me hope.
Well, it's interesting because of seeing how it played out in Texas, to see, and especially with someone like Jackson, where this motherfucker is. You already know he's guilty as a motherfucker.
Fuck that dude too.
Yeah, like it's who hurt him is all I gotta ask.
Telling you, he's got mommy and daddy issues.
Yeah, there's something off there. Which I mean, he's being indicted. But it's interesting to see him in his position where this young woman, Cox, was trying.
Married woman.
Is it out? Was she Republican? Did she vote for?
I have no idea.
I'm intrigued by to see where she sat on this.
It would be interesting if she voted Republican and how she feels now.
She's like, I didn't think this would happen to me, and I'm like, girl, what did you think was going to happen?
But honestly, I don't even know if that's a political thing. I think even liberal women are like, I never thought
nobody expects it to happen to them in that.
No, absolutely. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like shit.
But here's the thing that's interesting about it is that she had, which we all know is the case, the funding to go where she needed to go get it done. The issue is the people who do not have the funding to travel and cross state lines to go get the abortion.
I of course, I don't know everything, but I know that an organization was helping her. So I don't know if they gave her any financial help, but I know that they were helping her with resources to get out, and whatever. So I don't know if they funded all of that.
Okay.
I don't know if Kate Cox and her husband funded that or not.
Okay.
But I do know that there was an organization that was helping them get out of the state and find somebody to.
Which I'm
to
interested to see how that plays out, because I know that that's also some of the laws they're trying to pass, that you can't cross
because they use the law. The law is, and don't quote me on the exact wording, but is if they use the interstate, the Texas interstate, to get out of the state to go to the abortion, there's a law against that.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
So basically, they put well, not a warrant, but they put a hit out on these women. Like, it's like, oh, we're going to get you one way or another.
That is really fucked up to think about.
So what I'm interested to see is I don't know if she's back yet, and if she is, are they going to charge her? Are they gonna try to make an example out of her? I have a feeling this Ken Paxton prick is gonna do something. He's not gonna let this go.
Again, this is not a losing. This is not a winning conversation for Ken, for anybody in that party, because the moment that you do put this pressure on this woman, everybody in the state is going to look at you and be like, she's not a criminal.
Not even the state, the entire country. Like, this has stirred up everybody one way or another. Either you're like us and you're pro-choice, like, it's none of my fucking business, go do what you want to do, or
what you need to do what you need to
do what you want to do. It doesn't matter. And then there's the other side, which is you're murdering babies. It's like there's no in between. There's no anything right now. It's just you're either that side or this side.
It's quite telling, because it's one of those things where it's like, this person clearly wanted to have a child.
They wanted the baby. They it's like, and that was the other thing.
But by keeping it, it was going to either kill her or ruin her chances of having another child.
As well as not.
She was a perfect candidate for Republicans to be like, look, see, we can allow this to happen because she's going to create more babies.
That's the point that needs to be driven home. I think the Republicans and really fucked up on this one, because, like you said, this was the perfect case for them to have approved it.
This is our laws working.
Yep. This is the way it's supposed to go. She came to the court. We approved it. She did what she was supposed to do. This is
now she's safe to have more children.
And she's safe. Bam, you're done. But they can't see that far down the road. They can't see past their own nose. It's just, we're going to control women. We're going to fuck these women over, and we're going to do it at all costs, no matter what. And it's like, I hope you guys are enjoying this, because this is your last hurrah. This is it.
It really is.
Because
it feels that way. They've lost every election
is
leading up to this due to this simple fact.
And the margin has only been getting bigger and bigger. With Hillary, it was 2.8 million. With Joe, it was 7 point something million.
Yeah.
And I think this next time it's going to be even bigger, because you went after women, and you pissed off husbands, you pissed off brothers, you pissed off sons, you pissed us all off, because you're removing the rights of the women in our lives.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of us that are not going to sit down and let them fight this fight alone.
No. We are glued together.
If you're a man, there's only two positions for you to have. One, either you stand up with these women and you use your voice to protect them and their rights, or you sit the fuck down, keep your mouth shut, and realize that it's not your body, it's not a baby, it's not murder, it's not your conscience, it's not your fucking problem.
Yeah.
And leave it at that.
Yeah, it's quite telling to see where this is heading.
It's disturbing.
Well,
I know you say telling, but for me, I'm disturbed.
When I say telling, I'm saying from the women's perspective of where they're taking the country, because they're done with it. They're done with all of us.
As they should be.
And it's one of those things where I agree 100% with this statement that, I've only had the pleasure of being surrounded by strong women. My mother, my sisters, my wife, all put me in check like nobody else. And it's something that you gotta have that.
Yeah.
You gotta be put in your place. You gotta be told to sit down and shut the fuck up from some of these amazing individuals.
Yep.
And what's interesting about it is that every single one of them have definitely been in my life at a certain point that has been only to elevate me.
Right.
And I mean that as in like working with each other. It's only made me better in so many different ways. And it's interesting to see where they're going to be taking this, because I even feel, even going back to Israel and Palestine, it's the women who are fighting for there to be better solutions and there to be bridges and there to be a better outcome.
Yeah.
You know, it's the men who are not thinking clearly with any of it. And I think that about America, the women are really the ones who are going to be taking this show on the road and going somewhere. If things fall apart with Biden, looking at his bench without even knowing who's on there, you have Governor Whitmer.
Mm-hmm.
You have Gavin Newsom.
Mm-hmm.
You have
Buttigieg.
I don't think Pete's ready.
Mm.
I don't think he's ready. And I'm going to tell you why. And this can upset some folks. He won't have the black vote.
Why?
He's gay. There's still
No, I know the stigma's still strong in the community.
It's still strong, especially within the religious black community. And he hasn't cracked the code to be able to better communicate and reach out to and tap into that realm. And that's on him to find out as a politician.
That's interesting.
And I'm sorry to say it like that, but
I mean, it's an interesting, position and viewpoint. I mean, one I hadn't really thought of. But as soon as you said it, of course I'm familiar with, the community a little bit. So I know that it's a stigma, maybe even more so than in some other places. But
I have certain family where their families disown them because they're gay.
Yep.
And it's tragic as fuck. I love seeing them at the family reunion. I'm like, all right, well, I guess I won't see you there. But we go to meet up in New York, go get brunch, and we get to catch up. And it's actually better because we get this one-on-one time where we get to really enjoy each other and just hear the stories, what's going on, the ups, the downs, everything. It's how life is.
That's why it's so important to, create these safe spaces where everybody feels, included. It's why it's like every little thing I'm trying to do, it's always with, I'm trying to include people. And when I say that, I'm not trying to include MAGA and domestic terrorists. So, for all those people that come in my comments and say, oh, I don't owe you any respect. I don't owe you any compassion. You people are disgusting individuals. I will continue to drag you all over the internet. But outside of that,
tell us how you really feel, man.
Hey, man. My comment sections have been a little interesting.
It is. It really is.
But
it's interesting is that even though you do feel that way, I'm still like, we're all American. Like,
we are.
We can't fight each other forever.
And I will add, and I've said this before, at some point, it isn't right now, but at some point we are going to have to come back together. Like September 11th style, come back together as a country and figure this shit out together. It's going to have to happen at some point. But unfortunately, I don't think we're there yet.
I always think of it in the context that, like, we all want our kids to succeed. We all want a better future for our children. We just don't know how to go about it. And that's what we argue about. But like the core value of it is we want the future to be better for the next generation.
Yep.
And the only thing is just this ideology of whatever mental fucking Olympics, jumps, hoops, and everything we have to go through to get there. But it's almost that context of like, I can never say like someone's view is just complete trash. I mean, look, if you're racist, absolutely, there's something fucking off about you. So you clearly have not been exposed to what you're afraid of. And when I see racism, and I mean real racism, you're afraid of something.
Yep.
You've never been.
It's always based in fear.
Community.
Fear and ignorance. Fear and ignorance are the two main drivers of racism.
Of most issues.
Most issues, yeah.
And that's the part that I find so telling. But if we can get past that point, There's so much more for all of us, man.
There is.
And with that, we've reached 1 hour. Boom!
Oh, we got a little bit more. So we're close.
It wasn't a 30-minute show.
No, it wasn't a 30-minute show. Once we got those first talking points, it was all done. But
now we got that out of the way.
Yeah, now. So I want to talk a little bit about Arizona real quick. So 2 things.
Yes.
The governor of Arizona today ordered up the guard to go down to the southern border. So shit's getting real here in Arizona. The Democratic governor making this executive order, I think it's a big deal. It's showing the position not only of the party but Arizona and acknowledging the problem. I know a lot of people didn't like her approach of kind of shitting on the Biden administration. She's just being honest. She's been down to the border. She made her assessment, and this is where we're going. So
I really appreciate what Fetterman means to the party. And I'm going to say that because he's not kowtowing to the loud minority of the Democratic Party. And he just recently went on the record of saying, I stand with Israel. There's nothing you could say to me that's going to push me to have a ceasefire. Israel needs to defend itself. Yep. He goes, I also think that we need to have stronger borders, especially on the southern border. And he goes, we cannot just be a free-for-all. We need to have a structure there that actually can help funnel a better process of getting people in here that are that should be that can go through the program, go through and there's checks and balances. And I appreciate his honesty. I think he's very refreshing.
He is
politician
because he doesn't. He's a lot like me. He's going to say what he thinks. He's going to say how he feels, and if you don't like it, oh well.
And that's where I really do appreciate this breath of fresh air.
It is what we need. It is what we need. We need more politicians like him that are going to be like, you know what? I know this isn't the popular, position or opinion for the party as a whole, but this is how I feel. You're not going to convince me otherwise. Here are my reasons why. Like, if you can't get down with that, like, I don't know.
But that's the reason why you're in those positions, is to really handle and tackle these delicate and sometimes, really, it's like banging your head against the wall kind of topics where it's like, no, but we need to think clearly, and we need a moral compass of like, how can we do this the right way? Not how can I get paid off it? How can I get reelected? It's all the wrong reasons that are guiding a lot of the people in these positions.
Yep.
But it's being that clarity in these moments it's very necessary.
Yeah. So before we move on, like I said, I want to talk about Arizona a little bit. There's a Arizona representative here. Her name is Alma Hernandez. She is a Mexican Zionist. That's her position. Very pro-Israel. I did a video about this, I think either earlier today or yesterday. What bothers me about this is her private address was put on flyers that with like a screenshot of a tweet and a bunch of other gibberish added to it and passed out in her neighborhood and in Tucson. So I just need to say this from our platform here. I don't care what political party you're in. I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat. I will never support anybody releasing your information. Like, we cannot normalize any elected officials getting their private homes, addresses leaked. These people have families. They have kids. This isn't a joke. Hopefully,
and we're not saying first and foremost because someone from Palestine will say, well, they have a family. That's just to play devil's advocate. But the thing that I'd say to you here is that what is it that she stands for? She's standing for Israel defending itself. She's condemning what happened on October 7th.
And she was very deep, and she was very detailed in her tweet that's what she didn't support a ceasefire because you don't negotiate. She literally says you don't negotiate with terrorists. And when I made the video, I said, it's really funny. I remember a country who has a policy: you don't negotiate with terrorists. I'm trying to remember which one it was. Oh, that's right, ours. Yeah. So it's just kind of like we have to practice. It was almost like a tweet saying we have to practice what we preach here.
Right.
And they took the context, really, twisted it, of course, and released her private information. So I just have to say that's not okay. And if you were a Republican, I would be saying the same thing. It's not okay to SWAT. It's not okay to go after, elected officials' kids or either. I'm not a public official, or not just public officials, even internet personalities. People with it's not okay. It's not okay, guys. It's
quite interesting and telling to see how far left the party has gone, because they're coming right back up on the right. And it's really interesting to see how it's almost converging to becoming almost like QAnon.
Well, I mean, I don't know, Alma is a Democrat, so I don't know,
What I mean by that is that people are going so extreme that at some point it's going to go around. So you're almost so far left that you are coming out right.
Yeah.
Because
that's
conspiracy theorists. You're coming out where it's like QAnon and this Palestine or Hamas movement. I'm not even gonna say Palestine. This Hamas movement. It's almost like they're a love child. It really is this fuse of them following misinformation and going off the deep end, and then acting like this, because these same people who are storming the Capitol are the same kind of individual who is literally giving out flyers with people's address, talking about go protest their private residence and make them change. That's intimidation.
Yep.
And if it's a person who says they don't deal with terrorists, how do you think they view you at that point? They're not going to negotiating with you.
Yep.
And Richie Torres, who's here in New York, in the Bronx, he is standing by. I wouldn't say he's a Zionist. I wouldn't say anything of the sort. This is a brother who's like, look, I stand with my Israeli brothers and sisters. Mm-hmm. Plain and simple. There's nothing you can do, say any. I think I sent you one of his messages.
Yeah, you did.
But they were like, we're gonna go to his office. They're going to protest him, and he goes, I will not be intimidated. He goes, and let me be crystal clear. No ceasefire will be ever announced from me until this is over.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. And it's like, wow, like it really is getting to that point. But there was this beautiful talk between two women at Columbia, and they were talking about, why do we have to pick a side? Why is it that because you care about the individual who is being bombed right now in Gaza Strip, you can't care about the people who are there in Israel?
Yeah, that shouldn't
and vice versa. Why is it me having sympathy for the people who are hurt on October 7th means I care nothing about the people of Gaza?
Yep.
Or of the West Bank? It's like this blows my mind that we have to be so tribal and choose a side, where it's like, that's not where I'm living with my energy.
Yeah. And that was
you're just casting out, common sense.
And that's really where Alma kind of stands with it. I mean, like you said, she's very pro-Israel, but at the same time, she's not sitting there advocating for innocent people to be killed, or
nobody wants that.
I would hope not. I would hope nobody wants that. That's like you've said.
No, I'm sure there's some people in Israel that are wipe them all out, and
not just Israel, brother. But it's just like we keep saying, this is a horrible situation. There is no winner. There's no winning scenario here. All that is destruction and extremism and hate and like Ian said earlier in the show, all they are doing and us, because we're kind of helping, is we're creating more extremists. We're creating, and I'm not just going to say Hamas extremists. We're creating extremists in Israel too. This whole thing is going to create extremists on both sides. That's the really, I think, sad part and thing that the whole world is probably going to have to deal with in 10 to 15, 20 years. There's going to be a whole new generation of people that are going to be even more brutal than the ones right now.
Yeah.
And if you think that's not true, I don't know what to tell you.
And look at the extremists that are here. Look at the people who are.
We have our own set of extremists,
who really are doubling down on their ignorance, and it's just like, you don't even have the quality, the skill set
Well,
to deduce this, like to really just step back and actually look at this. You're just falling in line blindly.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see. May that
And
be
they
the
vote.
party or be this far extreme left that is becoming Hamas's cheerleaders.
Yep.
Without questioning anything.
Yeah, that's the like we keep talking about, and that was something that I talked about regarding Alma is, you know, there's context here, there's nuances. It is
Right.
like, and you said it's not black and white. It's not, you can't just pick one side. I'm sorry, you can't. You know, I know that's what some people want. You either pick Israel or you pick, you know, Palestine and Hamas. That's not how it is. That just isn't. Like,
No.
Both sides are doing fucked up shit. You know, let's be honest. But like I said in the video, and you said earlier, are they fighting another army, or are they fighting a group of terrorists that don't wear uniforms, that use kids as you know, walking bombs, that have women carrying guns underneath their burqas, you know, all sorts of shit? That's who they're fighting. They're not fighting, you know, there's no rules of engagement here
At all.
There aren't. And that's the reality of fighting terrorism and terrorists. You are not fighting an army that is held to some kind of, you know, rules of engagement or the Geneva Convention or anything like that. These people do not give a shit. And because of that, when you're sending your men and women in there and you want them to come back, you have to adjust how you attack them. And that's just a reality.
And it's a zero-sum game. I mean,
It's a
it really
zero-sum game, and if it comes down to, you know, the way, you know, I always was, and Jen was like this, you know, if it's going to come down to you or me, I'm going home.
Right.
Sorry, you know, I'm going home. So it really does, I think, boil down to that sometimes. Is it's not. I think as soldiers, you're not just looking at it from a side. You're literally looking at it from the very simple point of, you're over there, I'm over here. One of us is going home, and it's going to be me.
Yeah,
that's the mentality.
It's affecting a whole generation.
It is. I mean, it's going to be.
It's the soldier story, you know, where how deflating this can be for someone's soul.
Yep.
To have to do this, but they understand the bigger picture of what they have to do, even though they're in the trenches of it. You know,
well, it's just like
when they step back, then all that really boils over onto them.
And I'm just going to end it with this. You know, we were talking about Bin Laden. You know, well, we weren't talking about it, but the left wing people that are whatever. Some of them are bringing it up. You guys remember the letter? Yeah. But I think it's also important to remember when you talk about the gruesomeness and all of that of war, that when we killed him, you know, there were photos, and a lot of people wanted to know why Obama and the government didn't release the photos. And the reason was, you know, and even Obama said it, he goes, you know, he was shot in the head. It wasn't pretty, you know, like it was very gruesome. But more importantly, you know, what was it going to accomplish?
Right.
All that photo would have been was a rallying cry.
Right.
And it was better to, you know, bury him at sea and be done with it. And that's what they did. And I loved how Obama put it at the end. He goes, we treated his body with a lot more respect than he treated the 3,000 people on 9/11. And I think that's the best way to put it. And
which is the most tragic thing about today's war, because
it's very similar, man.
A fucking GoPro is now creating, you know, Hamas training camp videos, and also trying to.
It's very different. It's very different.
It's very different. And with all the footage that's being captured right now, it's all there to adhere to.
And dude, like the way that it can be misinterpreted, like that's why I'm not sharing a lot of it. Cause it's like, you know, you read one thing and it's like, oh, the hospital was attacked by Israel. And then 2 hours later, it's like, oh, actually it was attacked by Hamas. And then 3 hours later, it's like, nope, Israel did it. And, you know, and like you talked about this. You talked about this. What?
It was Hamas.
Right. Yes, that is true. But
that's like, and that's the bullshit.
Just had to,
everybody's in a rush also to post.
In a rush.
Like everybody needs to take a step back.
And that's what I've heard you in my ears the last few weeks. I've been when it comes to that kind of stuff, because it's
You
like,
got me like Jimmy the Cricket, huh? I'm just
well,
right
I'm
there.
still dragging the shit out of it, right? But when it comes when it comes to this, I really was listening to you and took that to heart a little bit, because it's like, man, I don't want to be one of the people, spreading misinformation about this.
Right.
I think that is a big problem, and hopefully more people, with the platforms that we have, will be a little more responsible with it. Like you said, I know that, a lot of these creators, we're all chasing clicks. Anybody that tells you different is lying to you.
Right.
But we also, it's like free speech. With our rights comes responsibility. With our platforms comes some responsibility, which is
hit him with that Uncle Ben, baby. Hit him with that Uncle Ben. Great power comes great responsibility, son.
It does, man. It does. And these platforms, when you have 200,000 people following you, 1 million people following you, it does start to matter what you say. I'm reminded of that at least every couple months of, oh, yep, that's right. I have to be responsible. I can't just post what
pie, huh?
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. And it, you know what? It accomplishes what it should. It's that check that I need every once in a while to be like, you're chasing the clicks a little too much. Back off and, make sure you put a little time into it, like we do at the show. We're able to, put information out there and be factual, and that we need more of that. We need more platforms that are like, we're just going to put the facts out there, even if you don't like it, but that's just how we're going to roll.
You can be salty, but there'll be some jokes. Don't worry.
We always have a few laughs on here.
That's happen.
I don't know how to
transition. Make this digestible.
I don't know how to transition into that last one though.
What's that last one?
So I just wanted to talk for a second about Matthew Perry again.
Oh.
His cause of death came out today, and
he didn't pivot.
I did. There was no pivot there.
That's how you do the transition.
Yeah, there was no pivot there.
R.I.P. man, Matthew Perry. Goddamn.
Yeah, we talked about him, I think, a couple of shows ago. But yeah, it was just to find out what the cause of death was. Apparently, he died from acute effects of ketamine. He was on, let me see, I think we have it here. Yeah, it said the acute effects of ketamine, according to an autopsy. Medical examiner said 54-year-old also drowned. It was a secondary factor in his accidental death. Other factors played a role in his death, included coronary artery disease and I don't know how to spell that or say that, buprenorphine effects, which is a medication used to treat opioid use. So yeah, those are the. But I just want to point out, number one,
ketamine, just know that he's very at peace when he went.
Hopefully. But also, I just want to point out, ketamine is used for depression. Apparently, he was being treated for it. But I guess the coroner did say something along the lines of he had to have taken it again since his last treatment, though, because it wouldn't have been in his system still. So, he was taking it. Sounded like he might have been taking it more than he was supposed to, but it is used to treat depression. So it's not like I don't want people thinking, oh, he was all drugged up. He was being treated with the stuff.
Right.
And the other drug is used. It's like, what is it? Doxa, whatever it was, to help you with opioid withdrawals and to help you stop taking the meds.
Right. And it could have been just that cocktail.
But it's just,
all those things all together in a system. And then he
and then on top, you're in a hot tub, heart problem, throw it all into a pan and mix it. And this is what you got. So, yeah, we
can only hope that it was just very peaceful. But I mean, with the ketamine and all that stuff, he may have been on a little journey.
Yep. And that's cool. Like you said, hopefully it was, it wasn't anything crazy and he's at peace now. And, just, these addictions can be lifelong. Some people, I think, come out the other end and they are okay. And some people come out the other.
Every day is a struggle, man. Every day.
You come out the other end and it's just, some people fall off, some people need help. And at the end of the day, I think the legacy that he'll leave behind is, a trail of breadcrumbs for people who struggle the same way that he did, to find better resources and to know that, you can beat this, you may need some help, but you can beat it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the legacy that he'll leave behind, and hopefully, even finding out the way he died will help others. And I truly believe that. So, like you said, rest in peace, Matthew Perry, and thanks for all the laughs. Appreciate it. But on that, I hate ending the show on that. We got to find something better. Okay. Here you go. What's your favorite song you're listening to right now?
What's my favorite song?
Yeah, what song you just jamming out to right now?
All right, so I'm gonna tell you, we're in Christmas mode, and I've been going back on some old school music, and I don't mean like 50s, 60s. I mean, I listen to all of it all across the board.
The Donny Hathaway
to, James Brown, Christmas, and there's a song there that's on. It's one of my favorite. It is one of my favorite songs. I've listened to it a number of times actually. Let me pull up the name of it. But it's is it Bringing Light for Christmas? Shoot. What's yours? And I'll tell you the name.
Well, mine like in Christmas time, I'm always jamming out to Donny Hathaway this Christmas.
Ooh,
that's my jam.
Such a beautiful voice.
Ah, dude, like
beautiful voice.
There have been other people that have covered it and done it well, but to me, Donny Hathaway's version, that'll always be the best version. And then the runner up, and mostly because it was my dad's favorite, Nat King Cole. Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
One of the best. One of the best. Actually, that song makes me think of my Oma, who that's everything. That's absolutely everything.
Yeah, it makes me think of my old man too.
Yeah, you can't go wrong. You cannot go wrong. So the song for James Brown that I just can't get enough of is "Let's Unite the Whole World at Christmas." If you've never heard that song before,
I don't know if I've heard it. I might know it when I hear it.
This album of James Brown is fucking ridiculous. It's called Funky Christmas is the album. And a number of the songs are really amazing. Just think Black Power, just think Christmas in the Ghetto. Just think
Christmas in the Ghetto.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
That's straight up some of the songs that my man is touching on. And he'll even say that, will Santa come to, the ghetto? It's almost like the preverb of Run DMC Christmas Carol.
Okay.
That element of Santa coming to Hollis, Queens, it's just this amazing perspective of Christmas.
I like it.
But the song to me, after losing my father this year, I've been blasting this album. I did it last year, and him and I would jam out to it. But specifically, this song, "Let's Unite the Whole World at Christmas." That song, for some reason, is just food for your soul.
Check
it out.
I love it. I'm gonna go check it out.
Play it for you and the kids, man.
Yeah, and last one I'm gonna leave y'all with, the Ramsey Lewis Trio. Go check it out. Ramsey Lewis Trio, Christmas Blues, The Sound of Christmas. It's like kind of jazzy, but like in a cool way. I don't know. It's like Charlie Brown Christmas, but
the
with
one
some
that,
soul.
if that's my pops right there, being James Brown. My mom would be, and this is stuff that's just food for my soul, would be David Bowie and Bing Crosby doing Drummer Boy. That shit is like my family in a nutshell. How different that music is, but like how it just collides,
comes together. Yep.
It's everything, man. It's so good. But just in general, I'm really vibing out to Christmas music right now.
You know what the funny thing was?
It's all in, And I'll say this to you is that we became those parents. We did Elf on the Shelf, and it's quite interesting to see little man really processing life, through everything. And so, when you got this little motherfucker just coming out, just acting up, get out of here. It's one of those things.
Yeah.
It's like,
oh, I love it.
It's like, and what's funny is just get out of here. Just get out of here.
Oh my God.
But what's funny about it is that he named him Guy Holiday. And when you're just like, how the hell, man, I said, get out of here.
Really?
So it's one of those situations where, guy holidays everywhere around the house. So we're watching the world through little man's eyes. So
Nice.
yeah,
I love it. I know that's I remember we were just watching videos of the kids like 4 or 5 years ago. Jen was like, look how spoiled they were, all the presents. But they were so tiny and you just like when they would get so excited, how when they get older it's like, oh, that's nice. It's like you used to get excited for this stuff. Jeez. But
this motherfucker's
oh, no,
moonwalking.
I'm going the wrong way. Get out of here. That's a much better way to end the show. Let's end it there.
So we're T minus. We're getting to the point of ending the year. We'll see what happens leading into 2024. But we got this show. We got the next one next week, and then
we'll be off.
We're hitting the holiday season, man.
We'll be off for a week, at least a week, I think.
Yeah.
Let me look.
We'll figure it out. We'll let them know.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. But we'll definitely be so next Friday will be my birthday.
Yes.
So that'll be a good show.
Well, you better be in your birthday suit.
Yeah. So we won't be on the 29th. So we'll be back January 5th.
All right.
So we got next week, and then we're off till January 5th.
So it's a birthday party next week.
Yes.
I'm ready.
I'll have the hat.
Hey, man. All right.
But no, as always, brother, love having you on here. Love doing the show with you. To all our supporters,
That's such a gift.
Yeah, yes, and all our supporters are as well. We don't take your support for granted. Wishing you and yours happiest of holidays, especially during these crazy times. Yeah. Like Ian said, hold on to the ones you love, hold on to those closest to you. Let's all remember what's really truly important this time of year. Be kind to people. It doesn't take but a minute to be kind, and let's all get through these holidays safe. And with that, I'll leave you as I always do with much love. Keep fighting. We'll see you next week.